Hello everybody, I'm Mr. Fairlane and time for another episode of Mr. Fairlane's Garage. I believe this is episode 5 of the Honda Acura Sandrail build, and this is going to be an episode about installing the stub axles, bearings, and seals. And then we're going to take a look at the 3x3s that we got ready to put on last time. So let's go take a look. Well, you can see we got the 3x3s bolted up. Like explained in the last episode, we got the Heim joints bolt tightened up there, and we took a little level and put it along the side here and then measured out from the center to try to align the back end, and we can talk about that at some later time. But we can see how we got the one side mocked up and it still needs to be torqued down. But I wanted to show you what it looks like before I put the parts in it. You know, you have your basic bearing housing here, and you know, you got everything nice and clean. And the bearings that go in this, you have one sealed bearing that goes on the inside, and then you have a open bearing that goes on the outside. Now, what I want to also show you is on the inside, we also have a little lip right down there next to the edge of the bearing, right down in here, and that's where the snap ring is going to go. We're going to put that snap ring right in there, and I'll tell you, it's a little booger to get on here. So what I did was I took a pair of channel locks, grabbed the snap ring, and then closed the snap ring as far as I could to get these pliers on. So it's like a mouse trap, let me tell you. So we're going to put that in there, and then after we do that, we're going to put the axle in, and we got the axle right here. Now here is the space, one of the spaces I was talking about. It has a concave center. That is to go over the lip at the bottom of the shaft. So that will slip on first, you know, then everything gets greased up, and we will slide that in here. And but we will do that after we put the seal, an outer seal on here, and grease everything up real good, and after we put the bearing in here along with the spacer. See if I can get a good shot of the spacer. The spacer that goes in also. So it basically takes up the room, and the shaft rides inside the bearing races and this spacer. So the shaft will go in after we put the snap ring on. Then we will have a bearing in there that'll slide in. The bearing here, the shaft will slide through here, and then we'll have another seal on the outside here. Sorry about the video. I'm old, what can you say? And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to put the shaft in with the spacer properly. After we install the seal on the other side, the bearing on this side, the seal on this side, and then we have the bearing cap. Actually, this is where the seal rides on here, and this just goes over the top, you know, and encapsulates the bearing on the outside. The bearing on the outside kind of sticks out a little bit. This step helps retain it, you know. So I'm not going to go through this because it's just a greasy mess, and like I say, I'm old and slow. But we'll get in there and we'll put that mouse trap. We'll see. Jesus clip inside the ring, and you know, you got that lip in here, so make sure that is seated in that groove right next to the bearing, you know. And to get that bearing in there, I put it in the freezer, and then took this oh, let's see, what size is this? Looks like an inch and 3/4 socket, or whatever is whatever appropriate thing you have, piece of pipe or anything, and drove that in there. And you can tell when it hits the end because it sounds like a metal on metal hit, you know. And then you'll have that groove that you can put your clip in. And then we'll put the bearing in on this side with the seal in the retainer plate, and we'll make sure we load this up with grease in here before we put this in. And then once we have this cap on the outside, we have another little spacer. Let me see if I can get in the picture here. We have another little spacer here that goes in. Has a narrow side and a big side. This narrow side fits right up against this other spacer that's inside here. So it's going to be about like that, you see. And then the flat side coincides with the flat side underneath the rotor right here. And so that spacer is right here, which is the diameter of that. The smaller is the diameter of that. Makes pretty much sense, you know. It's just like a puzzle, pretty easy to put together. So we'll put our seal on the inside. We'll put our cap on the outside, and then the last thing we do is we'll put that shaft in, and with plenty of grease inside, and then we'll put a nut on. So it's all pretty self-explanatory. Oh, one thing I did fail to mention is there is an O-ring. This little O-ring, slightly greased up, put on this. Let's see if I can get a little better picture of it here. Put on this upper lip. See, it rides on this upper lip, you know, around the shaft naturally. And make sure that's on, because you have a little recess around the outer of this cap here. You know, this outer edge. And that will help encapsulate that O-ring. So remember to do that, you know. And that's it. It's all pretty basic. So I'm going to let you go here while I install the parts. And I hope this wasn't too confusing. It's really all pretty basic once you get all the parts together. And a good thing to do is mock things up ahead of time before you get all greasy and sloppy, so that you know everything fits right. And good luck with that. So be kind till next time. Mr. Fairlane's out of here.